What if I told you the most devastating revenge doesn't involve saying a single word to the person who destroyed you, but just erasing them completely with no mercy? Wait, relax. I don't mean to unalive them. I mean paying them back in another way that it hunts and hurts them forever from the inside. If you've ever felt that burning need for payback, but something deeper tells you there's a better way, hit that subscribe button right now, because what I'm about to show you will change how you handle betrayal forever. The ancient Stoics discovered something that modern psychology is just catching up to. The people who hurt you are actually giving you the greatest gift possible. They're showing you exactly how not to live. But here's what most people miss completely. Most people think revenge means making your enemy suffer. But what if the real victory is making them irrelevant? What if true power isn't about breaking them down, but building yourself up so high they can't even see you anymore? I'm about to reveal 5 ancient principles that will turn every betrayal, every backstab, every humiliation into fuel for your unstoppable rise. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why the most dangerous person is the one who no longer needs anyone's approval to feel powerful. But first, let me ask you something. Drop a comment right now and tell me, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? Was it loud and dramatic or quiet and devastating? Let's dive in. Chapter 1. The illusion of victory through violence. Let me paint you a picture that will make your blood boil, then show you why that reaction is exactly what's keeping you trapped. 3 months ago, I watched a woman named Anna get publicly humiliated at her own company's annual meeting. Her business partner, someone she'd trusted for 5 years, stood up in front of 200 people and took credit for a project that was entirely her creation. The room fell silent. Anna's face went white, and I could see her mind racing with 1,000 different ways to destroy this man's career. But what happened next changed everything I thought I knew about power. You see, Anna had 2 choices in that moment. She could go nuclear, expose his lies, drag him through the mud, make him pay publicly for what he'd done, or she could do something far more terrifying. Something that would haunt him for years to come. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius faced betrayals that make office politics look like playground squabbles. His own son conspired against him. His trusted generals plotted coups. His closest advisors whispered poison in his ear. Yet he wrote in his private journal, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Most people read that and think he's preaching weakness. They're dead wrong. What Marcus understood, and what Anna was about to discover, is that traditional revenge is actually a trap. It feels powerful in the moment, but it quietly hands your peace over to the very person who shattered it. You become a character in their drama instead of the author of your own story. Think about the last time someone really got under your skin. Did getting back at them actually make you feel better long-term? Drop your honest answer in the comments. I read every single one. Here's what happens in your brain when someone disrespects you. Your amygdala, the ancient alarm system, starts screaming. Your heart pounds, your vision sharpens, adrenaline floods your system. You feel alive with righteous fury. But you're not thinking anymore, you're just reacting. And in that reactive state, you make the biggest mistake possible. You let them control your next move. Traditional revenge says the only way to win is to make them lose. But what if I told you there's a form of victory so complete, so total, that your enemy doesn't just lose, they become completely irrelevant? Let me take you back to Anna's story, because what she did next broke every rule of conventional wisdom about payback. Instead of standing up to defend herself, instead of exposing her partner's lies, instead of fighting for what was rightfully hers, Anna did something that made the entire room uncomfortable. She smiled. Not a fake smile, not a bitter smile, but a genuine smile of someone who had just been handed an unexpected gift. You see, Anna realized something in that moment that most people never understand. Her partner hadn't just stolen her credit. He'd revealed his character to 200 witnesses. He'd shown everyone exactly who he was. And more importantly, he'd freed her from any obligation to protect his reputation. But here's where it gets really interesting. Anna didn't say a word. She didn't defend herself. She didn't attack back. She just disappeared, quietly, completely. And what happened over the next 6 months was the most brutal form of revenge I've ever witnessed. Before I tell you what Anna did, I want to know, have you ever been in a situation where staying silent was more powerful than speaking up? Tell me about it in the comments. The Stoics understood something about human nature that modern psychology is just rediscovering. The people who tried to diminish you are already diminished. They're operating from a place of scarcity, fear, and insecurity. When you react to their attacks, you're validating their worldview. You're confirming that you can be brought down to their level. But when you don't react, when you don't engage, when you simply rise above it, that's when something truly dangerous happens. They start to question everything. They start to wonder why their usual tactics aren't working. They start to obsess over you in a way that's far more satisfying than any comeback could ever be. Epictetus, who went from slave to teacher of emperors, said, "No one can hurt you without your permission." At first, that sounds like victim-blaming nonsense, but what he meant was profound. The greatest damage isn't in the act itself, but in how long we let that act live inside us. The trap of traditional revenge isn't just that it makes you like your enemy, it's that it keeps you connected to them, energetically, emotionally, spiritually. Every minute you spend plotting their downfall is a minute they're stealing from your rise. So what did Anna do that was so devastating? How did she turn her humiliation into her enemy's nightmare? And why was her silence more powerful than any speech she could have given? If you're starting to see revenge in a completely different light, smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Because we're just getting started, and what comes next will completely revolutionize how you handle conflict. Chapter 2: The Art of Invisible Dominance. Anna's revenge began the moment she stopped trying to get revenge. While her former partner was still basking in his stolen glory, she was quietly executing a plan so elegant, so devastating that he wouldn't see it coming until it was far too late. You see, Anna understood something most people miss. The best time to strike isn't when your enemy expects it. It's when they've forgotten you exist, when they think they've won, when they're comfortable and careless and completely unprepared for what's about to hit them. The Stoics called this principle preferred indifferents, outcomes you prefer but don't need for your happiness. Anna preferred to get credit for her work, but she didn't need that credit to know her own worth. This distinction gave her something her partner would never have: true freedom. Within 2 weeks of that humiliating meeting, Anna had quietly reached out to 3 of the company's biggest clients. Not to badmouth her partner, not to expose what he'd done, but to offer them something he never could: genuine value without the ego. Have you ever noticed how the people who steal credit are usually the ones who can't create anything original themselves? Let me know in the comments if you've seen this pattern. Here's what most people don't understand about narcissists and credit stealers. They're addicted to recognition because they have no internal sense of worth. They need external validation like a drug, and when that validation is threatened, they become desperate, sloppy, and ultimately self-destructive. Anna didn't need to destroy her partner's reputation. She just needed to build her own. And when you're building from a place of genuine value rather than reactive ego, you become unstoppable. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." Anna wasn't dwelling on past humiliations or future vindications. She was fully present to the opportunities in front of her, and that presence gave her a massive advantage over someone who was still performing for an audience that had already moved on. By month 3, something extraordinary started happening. The same clients who had witnessed Anna's humiliation began asking uncomfortable questions. Where's Anna been? Why isn't she leading these projects anymore? This new guy doesn't seem to understand our needs the way she did. But here's the beautiful part. Anna never had to defend herself. She never had to explain what really happened. Her work spoke louder than any accusation could. Her absence created more questions than her presence ever would have answered. The partner who had stolen her shine was now in the impossible position of trying to deliver on promises he'd made with someone else's skills. The spotlight he'd craved so desperately was now exposing every flaw, every shortcut, every limitation he'd been hiding behind Anna's competence. And Anna? She was building something he could never touch. A consulting firm with those same 3 clients as her foundation, a business built on her reputation, her relationships, her results. While he was scrambling to maintain a lie, she was creating a truth so powerful it made his deception irrelevant. This is the power of what I call invisible dominance, winning without your opponent even knowing they're in a competition. Have you ever seen someone succeed by focusing on their own path instead of blocking others? Share your story below. The Stoics understood that true power isn't the ability to destroy your enemies, it's the ability to make them irrelevant. When you're so focused on building your own excellence, you naturally rise above the petty conflicts that consume lesser minds. 6 months after that humiliating meeting, Anna's former partner was fired, not because of anything she said or did, but because his stolen credentials couldn't hide his lack of substance. The clients left. The projects failed. The truth revealed itself without any help from Anna whatsoever. This is what the Stoics meant by living in accordance with nature. Nature doesn't force, it doesn't push, it doesn't argue. It simply grows, adapts, and overcomes obstacles by finding a way around them. Anna had become a force of nature, while her partner remained trapped in the world of human drama. If you're beginning to understand the true nature of power, hit that subscribe button because what I'm about to show you next is the most counterintuitive principle of all, and it's the one that separates true victors from people who just think they're winning. Chapter 3. The Paradox of Letting Go. Here's where most people's minds break. The moment you stop needing revenge is the moment you become truly dangerous. Not dangerous in a violent way, but dangerous in the way that terrifies petty people. You become immune to their attacks. Anna's story had one more twist that reveals the most powerful Stoic principle of all. After her former partner was fired, after her consulting firm was thriving, after she had clearly won by any objective measure, something unexpected happened. He reached out to her. It was a long email full of excuses, half apologies, and thinly veiled requests for help. He'd heard about her success. He was struggling to find work. He wondered if there might be a place for him in her new company. Most people would have savored this moment, the chance to reject him publicly, the opportunity to make him grovel, the perfect setup for a devastating final blow. But Anna's response revealed why she had won so decisively in the first place. Before I tell you what Anna did, put yourself in her shoes. How would you have responded to your former betrayer coming to you for help? Be honest in the comments. I want to know what your gut reaction would be. The Stoics believe that forgiveness isn't about the person who wronged you. It's about freeing yourself from the prison of resentment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does." Anna's response was 2 sentences long. "I wish you well in your search. I don't think we'd be a good fit." That's it. No anger, no lecture, no detailed explanation of why he didn't deserve her help. Just a simple, clean boundary that left him with nothing to argue against. You see, Anna had discovered something that most people never learn. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. When you truly let go of someone, you don't need them to suffer. You don't need them to understand. You don't even need them to change. You simply release them from your concern. But here's what happened next that reveals the true power of this approach. Word spread about how Anna had handled the situation, not through gossip or drama, but through the quiet respect of people who witnessed grace under pressure. Her reputation for professionalism and emotional intelligence opened doors that revenge never could have. When you respond to betrayal with wisdom instead of rage, you signal something profound to everyone watching. You are not controlled by external circumstances. You operate from an internal compass that no one else can disturb. This makes you incredibly attractive to high-quality people and opportunities. Meanwhile, her former partner's desperation became increasingly obvious to everyone in their industry. His inability to let go, his continued attempts to justify his past actions, his transparent neediness, all of it branded him as someone to avoid. He had become his own worst enemy, while Anna had become untouchable. This is the paradox the Stoics understood. The more you chase revenge, the more you remain tied to your enemies. But the moment you genuinely let go, you become free to pursue something far more valuable than satisfaction. You become free to pursue excellence. 2 years later, Anna's consulting firm was acquired by a Fortune 500 company for 8 figures. Her former partner was working as a mid-level manager at a startup that folded 6 months later. The universe had delivered its own verdict, and it was far more decisive than any revenge Anna could have orchestrated. This is what I call cosmic justice, when you focus on your own path and let the universe handle the rest. Have you ever experienced this kind of natural consequence playing out? Share your story in the comments. Epictetus taught that we suffer not from events themselves, but from our judgments about events. Anna had changed her judgment about betrayal from something that was done to her to information about someone else's character. This shift in perspective freed her from the need for any external validation or vindication. But perhaps the most beautiful part of Anna's story is how it ended. At the acquisition celebration, someone asked her about the early days of her company, about what had motivated her to start it. She paused for a moment, genuinely thinking, and then said, "You know, I honestly can't remember. I was just ready to build something meaningful." She had literally forgotten the betrayal that started it all. Not because she was in denial, but because it had become so irrelevant to who she'd become that it no longer registered as significant. This is the highest level of Stoic victory, not just defeating your enemies, but evolving beyond the need for enemies at all. When you reach this state, you become truly untouchable, not because you're hard or bitter, but because you're operating on a completely different level of existence. If Anna's transformation resonates with something deep inside you, if you're ready to stop giving your power away to people who don't deserve it, subscribe right now, because what I'm about to share in the final chapter will show you exactly how to make this shift in your own life. Chapter 4. The Ultimate Stoic Victory, Becoming Untouchable. Here's the final secret the Stoics discovered that modern psychology is only beginning to understand. The people who can hurt you are only the people whose opinions you still value. The moment you truly stop caring what someone thinks of you, they lose all power over your emotional state. But this isn't about becoming cold or disconnected. It's about becoming so secure in your own worth that external validation becomes nice to have, not need to have. It's about building your identity on things that no one else can take away from you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This isn't just inspirational poster wisdom. This is a practical instruction manual for becoming psychologically invincible. Let me share with you the 5 levels of Stoic victory, from weakest to strongest, so you can see exactly where you are and where you're headed. Level 1. Reactive revenge. You hurt them back immediately. This feels satisfying but keeps you trapped in their story. You're still dancing to their rhythm. Level 2. Calculated revenge. You plan their downfall strategically. This feels more sophisticated but still requires you to think about them constantly. They're living rent-free in your head. Level 3. Constructive response. You use their betrayal as motivation to improve yourself. Better, but you're still building your success as a reaction to their actions. Level 4. Indifferent excellence. You pursue your goals regardless of what they did. Your success isn't about them at all. They become irrelevant to your story. Level 5. Grateful transcendence. You actually become grateful for the betrayal because it revealed their true character and freed you from a toxic connection. This is the highest level of Stoic mastery. Anna reached level 5. She genuinely felt grateful to her former partner for showing her who he really was before she invested more time and energy in their partnership. The betrayal became a gift that redirected her toward her true path. Which level resonates with where you are right now? Drop a number in the comments. No judgment, just honest self-reflection. Most people fluctuate between levels depending on the situation. Here's how you begin this transformation. Every time you catch yourself thinking about someone who wronged you, ask yourself 3 questions. Is thinking about this person moving me toward my goals or away from them? What would I focus on if this person didn't exist? How can I use this energy to build something beautiful instead? The beautiful irony is that the people who reach level 5 often become legends in their own right, while their betrayers fade into footnotes. History remembers the builders, not the breakers. It celebrates the creators, not the critics. But here's the ultimate plot twist that brings everything full circle. The most devastating revenge isn't making your enemies suffer. It's making them irrelevant. It's building a life so compelling, so meaningful, so aligned with your values that their opinion becomes as insignificant as a stranger's comment on the street. When you reach this state, something magical happens. You stop attracting people who would betray you because you no longer operate from the energy that draws in takers and users. You start magnetizing people who recognize and appreciate your worth because you've learned to recognize and appreciate it yourself. The Stoics believe that virtue is its own reward, not because it makes you feel morally superior, but because it makes you genuinely free. When your happiness depends on your character rather than other people's behavior, you become uncontrollable by external circumstances. This is why Anna's story is so powerful. She didn't just win against her betrayer, she won against the part of herself that needed to win against him. She transcended the entire game and created a new one where she was the only player that mattered. If you've made it this far, you're clearly serious about transforming how you handle conflict and betrayal. Drop a comment with one word that describes how you're feeling right now after hearing Anna's complete story. I read every comment, and I want to know where your head is at. The ancient Stoics discovered what modern neuroscience is now proving. Resentment is literally poison to your brain and body. It increases cortisol, weakens your immune system, and keeps you stuck in trauma patterns that prevent growth and happiness. But forgiveness, true forgiveness, isn't just good for your soul, it's good for your success. It frees up mental bandwidth for creativity, strategic thinking, and relationship building. It makes you more attractive to opportunities and high-quality people. Anna's consulting firm didn't just succeed despite her betrayal. It succeeded because of how she handled it. Her grace under pressure became her brand. Her ability to focus on solutions rather than problems became her competitive advantage. Her reputation for rising above drama became her most valuable asset. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 30 days, practice Stoic revenge. When someone wrongs you, instead of reacting immediately, pause and ask, how can I use this as fuel for my own elevation? Don't tell them you're doing this. Don't announce your new philosophy. Just quietly begin building a life so magnificent that their betrayal becomes the best thing that ever happened to you. If you're ready to join the ranks of people who turn pain into power, betrayal into breakthrough, and enemies into irrelevance, subscribe right now and ring that notification bell, because this journey doesn't end here, it begins here. The Stoics were right. The best revenge isn't getting even, it's getting better. So much better that your former enemies become footnotes in a story they could never have imagined you were capable of writing. The victory isn't in their defeat, it's in your transformation. And that transformation starts the moment you stop giving your power away and start reclaiming it, one conscious choice at a time. Soon, I'm going to show you the 3 psychological triggers that make people want to betray successful individuals and how to become immune to all of them. You won't want to miss it. Until then, rise without rage, succeed without revenge, and remember, your peace is your power.